Prophet, of the reverence of Holy Prophet, and hundreds of acts of the companions in Hadith and Quran are substantiating these particular acts. So wallahi huwa khair. That's why they are not to be considered as bid'ah. And if you insist to say them bid'ah, then it is bid'ah lughwiyya. It is not bid'ah shari'iyya, it is not dalala, because this is the sunnah of the companions. So we will come in the details which I have mentioned. So I was giving the technical definition of Imam Ibn Rajab al-Hanbali. Now second definition. Given by Imam Ibn Hajar Asqalani. When we say the word kullu bid'atin dalala, so we have to define the word bid'ah. This is the basic thing. Every bid'ah is dalala. Not a single Muslim can deny the words. This is the commandment of Holy Prophet ﷺ. Who deviates from him, he deviates from the teachings of Islam. Nobody can say no to the hadith of Holy Prophet ﷺ. The problem is what is meant by it. The basic question is the meanings of kullu bid'atin. What is bid'ah in the sense of Sharia? So now there are two ways. Either to define on our own, we should define it and we should decide, and we should take the authority in our own hands, or we should define according to the definitions given by the great authorities and imams of the times. And we should connect ourselves with the ummah. So now second definition, I am quoting Imam Ibn Hajar al-Asqalani. He is the Sharih of al-Bukhari. And these are the authorities which are read in Al-Mumlaka Arabiya Saudiya, which are read in Mamlaka Misr. These are authorities in Syria, authority in Iraq, authority in Jordan, authority in Palestine, authority in Jordan, authority in Maghrib, authority in Libya, authority in Tunisia, authority in Jazair, authority in Indo-Pak, authority all over the Islamic world for the last centuries, 1,000 years. Nobody denies their authoritative position, which I am quoting. Al-Hafiz Ibn Hajar Asqalani. And no scholar, not single scholar, Hanafi, Maliki, Shafi'i, Hanbali or Salafi. Salafi is not an aqidah or a school. But since some people claim to be Salafi now, it never existed in old days. A school of thought known as Salafi itself, it is a bid'ah. To declare that Salafi is a school of thought, itself it is a bid'ah. It never existed in old days. Because Salafus Salihin, Imam Abu Hanifa was among the Salafus Salihin. Imam Malik was among Salafus Salihin. Imam Shafi'i is Salafus Salihin. Ahmad bin Hanbal is Salafus Salihin. Sufyan al-Thawri Salafus Salihin. Abdullah bin Mubarak Salafus Salihin. Waqi bin al-Jarrah is Salafus Salihin. And all these people were followers of fiqh and madhab. So Salafus Salihin were the followers of mazahib. So there was no other school of thought which does not follow any mazhab. Even Hanafi, Maliki, Shafi'i, Hanbali and Salafis, all schools of thought accept them as authority. And not a single scholar teaches Sahih Bukhari without Hafiz Ibn Hajar Asqalani's Fathul Bari in the whole world. Now his definition. This is Fathul Bari with Sahih Bukhari, volume 13, Darul Hadith Al-Qahira, volume 13, and page 288. At this moment I am just quoting the definition. When we say kullu bid'atin, before proceeding towards dalala, every bid'ah is error and misguidance, it will lead to hell. Before proceeding, first of all, just stop here to define what is bid'ah and what is not. What are you talking about? How bid'ah has been defined by the authorities. So Hafiz Ibn Hajar Asqalani, He says, al-muhdasat wal-bidah, both words. He says, al-muhdasa wal-muradu biha ma uhdisa wa laysa lahu aslun fi shar'ah. He has not said, Imam Asqalani, I am quoting the words and reference, page 288, Fathul Bari, volume 13. He has not defined that muhdasa and bid'ah is an act which was not performed, which did not exist in the day of Holy Prophet and which was not performed by the Sahaba. What is a nonsense? And the scholars of today claiming to be scholar, and if you perform any particular act, they straight away attack on you and say, this was not done by Holy Prophet, this was not done by the Khulafa al-Rashideen, and then they start quoting 2-3 hadiths which they have parroted like parrots without understanding the meanings. They quote hadith, and the people, particularly from India, illiterate in Arabic, they are just influenced because the attack with hadith is being done. Hadiths are being quoted. They don't know what does it mean, and they say this is the word. The question is that we have to decide, do we know deen better? Do we know the meaning of the hadith of Holy Prophet better? Or does Imam Ibn Hajar Asqalani knows better? We have to decide. Do Al-Hafiz Ibn Rajab Al-Hanbali knows better the meanings what Holy Prophet said? Hafiz Ibn Hajar Asqalani knows better, or we know better than them? The answer definitely is that they are the authorities. He says, he does not mention al-bidah and muhdasa, that those acts which were not performed by Holy Prophet, not performed by companions. So there is no point to say and ask these kind of things to confuse the people. He says, those acts, uhdisa laysa lahu aslun fi shar'ah. Any act, new act which is done, and there is no asl for it in Sharia, dalail. No dalil, no reference. So instead of questioning in this way, that why are you celebrating this, and why are you doing this and this? Was this act done in the days of Holy Prophet or companions? This would be a wrong and misguiding and misleading question. This question itself would be misguidance, dalala. You have a right to ask, is there any dalil behind this act? This would be a right question. If you celebrate this, if you do this, is there any dalil, any reference, any origin in the dalail of Sharia behind it? What is the Shari reason to perform it? If somebody asks this question, this would be a genuine question. This is what Aimma are saying, that any new act which has no asl in Sharia is known as muhdasa. And he says, yusamma fi urfi shar'a bid'atu. And the same act, according to Sharia, is known as bid'ah. Now, then he says, وَمَا كَانَ لَهُ أَصْلٌ يَدُلُّ عَلَيْهِ الشَّرْعُ فَلَيْسَ بِبِدْعَةٍ. And any act which has any kind of dalil in Sharia, that cannot be declared to be bid'ah. That is not bid'ah. So it will not follow under kullu bid'atin dalala or kullu muhdasatin bid'ah. This is the definition of Imam Ibn Hajar Asqalani, and same definition was given by Imam Shafi'i radiyallahu ta'ala anhu. You tell me, who is a better scholar in this time, better than Sayyidina Imam Shafi'i radiyallahu ta'ala anhu? Do you claim to be higher than Imam Shafi'i in knowledge? Do you have a better and deeper understanding of the concept of bid'ah than Imam Shafi'i did? Hafiz Ibn Hajar Asqalani quotes, and then we will come to the references afterwards too, in page 2089, volume 13, same book, Fathul Bari. He says that Imam Shafi'i gave the definition of bid'ah. Imam Shafi'i. قال الشافعي رضي الله تعالى عنه. And let me tell that this definition of bid'ah